Last week I asked a very simple question. That was, how do you know when a stock is good? And how do you know specifically for me? Well, you know when a stock is good when I have my own money in it. I'm not going to invest in anything that I don't think is good, but also if I put my kids' money in it as well. So what do my kids currently own? How much money have they made? And how would I rank their current stocks based on return? Let's go ahead and break it down. Now, just like I did for my daughter a few months back, my son's birthday is this week. He's turning 6 and he is getting very close to his first $15,000 in the stock market. So we're going to break down how his entire portfolio is looking right now, what he's investing in, how much money he has made, and what type of accounts he has, because I know that's going to be a question. So first, let's break down his accounts. He has a 529 plan. That's for college. He has money there that if he goes to college, we can use that to pay for it. It's going to cover the entire cost of college. Based on how expensive college is, no, but it's going to take care of something, okay? Should he decide to go, and should college decide to be expensive, or he gets a scholarship. If he doesn't, we still have some options. There was a rule passed a year or two ago where we can convert some of that money and put it into an IRA and do a lot of really cool things should he decide not to go. So it is not all lost if he doesn't decide to go to college. That's number one. The main account is his custodial account. This is the account that we're going to break down. This is an account that we can put money into now from the time he was born and got his social. That's when we opened it up about 6 years ago. And he can take that money at 18. That becomes his. I'm not going to have any much say into it. Many parents and older uncles, grandparents, so on and so forth don't like that option because they're not going to have any control. And you might not want to give an 18-year-old kid $50,000, $60,000, $70,000. Now, I would argue you had all 18 years to raise them right and teach them how to handle their money. But hey, I'm not going to judge, okay? But there is another option where you can open an individual account under your own name and then have them as the beneficiary and just transfer it to them when you feel that is appropriate. That's a good option too. And I would argue it is a better option if you are considering financial aid for your child. So that is something we are looking into and doing some research around. But right now, 529 plan and custodial account is where 99% of his money is in. The 1% is a savings account. He needs cash, okay? All right, so what are the stocks that he currently has? How are those stocks doing? I'm going to start at the bottom and work our way up, and we'll talk about which ones he has and why he has those. The worst stock he has right now, I'm not going to apologize for it, okay? The worst stock that he has is only up 11%. That is the worst stock. Every single investment that my son owns is all green, which is great. Now, perhaps I was lucky on the day that I looked at his account, which is good too, but also the market is up. He's been investing for a while. He doesn't really make that many trades. We don't make that many trades, but it's Google. Unfortunately, I'm not exactly sure why. Maybe I was sleepy because, you know, tired parent syndrome is a thing. I should have gotten this on day one. I don't know why I didn't buy this the day he was born. It is what it is, but he's up 11% here. Again, I really wish I bought this from the jump. Now, there were some companies that he did buy from the very beginning that we did sell, Nike being one of those. We got up out of that one because we saw how bad Nike had become in the last 18 months or so. So that's not here in his portfolio because he sold it. So Google is the worst stock here. So if your worst stock is up 11%, things are going to get much better from here. Next, working up our list is Procter & Gamble. That stock symbol is PG. He's up 19.9%. Let's just go ahead, make it even, and call it an even 20% gain so far. This was a stock I picked up right in the pandemic. It was one of those defensive stocks along with Costco that everybody was really talking about, and it was really solid. Now, since then, it has been relatively unexciting, but does pay a pretty solid dividend. I didn't sell it for him because it hasn't had any issues. For me, someone who was older, someone who has like a tighter timeline, even though I'm still on the younger end, it's fine for him. I want to be a little bit more aggressive. I tend to be kind of in the middle when it comes to my kids, right? Like, I don't want to put them in the most aggressive thing in the world, but I also don't want to put them in the most conservative thing. So because it's up, I think it's fine. 20% is nothing to sneeze at. So he has Procter & Gamble. That went up very close to 20% so far. Working our way up here, the next one, and this is where he has the vast majority of his money, like 85% of his money is here. It is an index fund. It is ITOT, is the iShares US Total Stock Market Index Fund. It is the fund I tell y'all about. This should be the foundation of your portfolio, or a fund very similar to it. For some, it's going to be SPY, that's the S&P 500. For others, it's going to be the Vanguard version of one of those funds. You don't need this ITOT and the S&P 500. Those are basically the same. You don't need both. You only need one. Okay, so make sure that you do note that. But he's up 31.5%, 31.5 right now, and we're gonna keep investing in this index fund. My own money, we talk a lot about the individual stocks that I own. We talked about those and broke those down as well. But my own money, the vast majority is also in index funds because, again, I want to prevent as many mistakes as possible. Every single stock I invest in is not going to be NVIDIA. Okay, I'm not going to make 100% every single time I invest. I love it. I enjoy it when I do, okay? But I want to have that insurance where I can say over the last 100 years, right, the return has been 7, 8, 9% for the long term, okay? So I can at least lock in something, right? And I can take some risk outside of that. So that's the strategy that we're using here. So ITOT, that's again the ticker symbol, up 31.5% for him. Next here, moving up from 31%, we're at 32% at Eli Lilly. Y'all know I've been talking about Eli Lilly for a very, very long time. I bought Eli Lilly for my son before I bought it for myself. Okay, I should have also bought it for myself too. I do own it now. Okay, I didn't leave myself out. Buddy has had it for much longer. He's up 32%. Again, I told y'all when I bought it, you can go back at probably 2 years now, about Eli Lilly and how well it has been doing on the channel, all the breakdowns that we've been talking about it. So he does own it. 32% gain is where he is right now. And this is one I think he's really going to have for a very, very long time. As we move up the list, we are now in the 40% range. Up 46% is Prologis, PLD. Now this is a very interesting company because I invested in this company right when he was about 2 years old or so, and I invested in it, did the research. It was great back then, and I completely forgot the company existed. There is a very, very old live stream on Facebook that, again, you have to dig to even find this video, but someone asked me, like, hey, what do you think about Prologis? I was like, oh, I haven't heard of this company. I don't even know what it is, but I'll go and look into it. Turns out I did know about the company. I forgot about it, and it was in my son's portfolio, and it's been there ever since. So a company for him has done quite well. Remember, anytime that we do these portfolio breakdowns, it's about when you bought it. Okay, when you bought it is really going to determine how well that stock is doing and how well it may do, in the future. So keep in mind, he had it for a while. All these companies he has had for quite a while. So you do want to kind of factor that in when you are doing your research on whether a company is doing well or going to do well for you. And there is one that I will absolutely point out with that particular case. All right, as we are moving up, he's up 48% here on a stock. That is Caterpillar. I talked about Caterpillar. I told y'all about Caterpillar. I own Caterpillar too. He has had it longer. Again, I tend to just do things better for him sometimes than I do myself. But he's up 48.94% to be exact at the time that we're doing this video on Caterpillar. I did an entire video on why I think Caterpillar is good and why I think it is one of the better long-term companies for you to own right now. I'll let you go back and watch that video. But again, Caterpillar, it's up there. It's up there. You can also catch it in our Dow Jones ranking video. I ranked all 30 in 2 videos. We talked about Caterpillar and how it's up, near the 8th tier. So you want to make sure you go and check that one out. Now, we're up 50% here, and this is Berkshire. For those who are looking for the stock symbol, there are 2 classes of Berkshire shares. Berkshire A, I'm gonna let you look up the stock price there. Okay, we own Berkshire B, so BRKB. Sometimes, depending on the app, you have to put in BRK.B to get this specific share class of Berkshire. He's up 50.99% here. Let's just call it 51. And this is one that I think he's had since birth. A lot of these he's had since birth, but I have made changes from time to time. You can actually go and check on the channel and on my social channels like Instagram and others. That link is in the description below. But you can see when I make those changes as well. I do the exact same thing that I do for myself as well as the entire family every June and December. That's when we go in and make those changes. So again, Nike was one of the stocks that we sold. You can go back to our December video where you'll see everything that I bought and sold for the kids and myself back then too. But again, everything has been green so far. But there's one other stock. There's one other stock here that's up 144%. And it's the one that I warned you about a second ago. That is Apple. He has had Apple from the very beginning, again, up about 144%. Here is the thing. Apple is not a company that I would recommend and be excited about right now. Do I think long-term Apple is going to be fine and get back to what Apple was known to do from a stock market perspective? Yes, I do. So there's a case for you to buy Apple now. It's just That's just not my philosophy. I want what's doing well now and has, you know, a good coasting path to continue to do well in the future. So it's not a stock I would sell, but it's not a stock I would be excited about buying. But for him, again, it depends on when you bought it, right? And when he bought it, from the time that we are right now, and he's added some shares, you know, here and there every year, actually, he's up 144%. So right now, that is his absolute best stock. Now, the next question is, well, what stocks are good for you right now? What am I investing in currently? Well, I actually did a very similar breakdown video there where you see all the stocks I own and how much money I have made in each one. If you want to know what those stocks are and where the video is, you want to check this video out right here.